Why do we fail at the goals that we set ourselves? That's something that's really been present in my mind recently. Like, we can say that we want something, like we want to be in shape, we want to look a certain way, or we want to become really fit, or we want to be eating a certain diet and we want to stick to it. And, maybe you've created a lot of plans like I have. I've created a lot of plans, I've had a lot of goals, but I've failed pretty much all of them. Like, sure, I've made progress and I've learnt along the way. And I think that's more important than actually reaching the goals, because the purpose isn't to reach some destination, it's to kind of live in the process of life and try and master that. If you haven't watched any of my past few videos, these past maybe 2 or 3 weeks have been very tough for me. I came out of the 30-day low stimulation protocol and I was feeling really good. And I thought that it was going to be easy, that I wouldn't have to face that difficulty or adversity again. And that was quite naive of me, because I tried to start this new 90-day protocol, but I was working extra and I didn't really take that into account, and then I was just kind of fizzling out, not sure what I was doing, why I was doing it. I wasn't completing my workouts, and I started to lose track of my diet, started to snack a bit more, and then all of a sudden most of my diet just crumbled. Thankfully I was able to keep my sleep schedule, but I ended up snacking a lot, eating a lot of foods that I didn't want to, junk food, playing a lot of video games, watching a fair bit of movies and TV shows, more than I wanted to. I'm not saying that these things are bad, because now I realize from the mistakes that I've made, we can't have a set schedule or routine if our bodies are going to fluctuate all the time. Like, I'm pretty tired and I may look like a bit tired, like I probably have darker circles under my eyes because I only got 5 hours of sleep last night, which is very unlike me, but I didn't wind down properly, and I still kind of went to bed on time, but I didn't sleep well. I kept waking up. But today I'm like feeling a lot better for some reason, like have a lot more energy, and I actually wanted to work out, and I think the most important thing for me is why we don't reach our goals is because we're so focused on fixing our habits in our lives and thinking that if I'm not doing this, then I'm a loser. And that just creates this conflict within ourselves, and it just creates a lot of fighting. Whereas we don't need to judge those things. We don't need to be so harsh on ourselves about those things. We just need to accept that sometimes we do fail and sometimes we do stuff up, but not to see that as a kind of bad thing. And I'll go into that a bit more after I finish this next set of dips. So if that microphone was kind of going weird, and if that was squeaking. The more that I judge myself for eating bad, or the more I kind of tried to fight it, the worse that I kind of found off I was. And, so I kind of let it go. I was like, all right, I'm not feeling the best. I just feel like playing video games, so I'm going to allow that a little bit and just see what happens. And there would come a point where I'd be like, all right, I should probably get ready for bed and turn it off. And this doesn't usually happen. Like, usually I would I still had the urge to like play for most of the night, but I didn't end up doing that. And I think that comes down to meditation or just sitting in silence. Like the more that the days that I meditate or the days that I have dedicated time to silence are the days when I end up doing more. And basically that's because you're allowing your nervous system, you're allowing the body to integrate all of this experiences and its emotions, and a lot of that stuff will come up, and you know, it might seem really daunting to just sit and do nothing, like literally just sit and stare at a wall and set a timer for a certain amount of time, however long you think you can do, and just sticking to that. And for me, just that peace that you get from after it, whether that's meditation or just sitting doing nothing, just that slight clarity of mind. Like sometimes when you're in this really, when you've been, like when I play a fair bit of video games often, and I get kind of like in this muddled kind of brain fog kind of state, and I just think that I'm so bad for not doing what I want to do, so then I try and watch more YouTube videos about how to become more disciplined or following these schedules and try and pick out this perfect plan. And for some reason that always tends to happen towards the afternoon. It's like yesterday I had like a rest day. I managed to kind of eat rather well because I had played indoor soccer that night, so I didn't have the best sleep, so I kind of was like, all right, I just got to eat, go on a walk, try and eat enough food, and then just I had a plan to like kind of watch a movie, and I ended up watching, did I watch 3? I might have watched 3 movies. I watched Clockwork Orange. I was kind of into Stanley Kubrick. And then I watched Full Metal Jacket. But like, and then I played like a fair bit of video games. And you know, I felt kind of bad for doing that, but then I was like, oh, my body's not feeling great, I'm not feeling great, so I'm just gonna allow this for a bit more. And then, you know, that night I was kind of, whenever I spend the day like that in the afternoon, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get on this grind, I'm gonna stick to this strict schedule, and I'm gonna follow it exactly. And the next morning I wake up and I'm always like, oh, I can't be stuffed. So instead of trying to get psyched, I just noticed that feeling of being psyched, and I just kind of noticed it rather than give into it and be like, yes, I'm gonna grind tomorrow. And as I said, that comes from just sitting in silence and just meditating, being aware of it, not giving it more power, because the whole concept of why we struggle to do what we want to do and why we have difficulty controlling ourselves, basically, that's what's keeping us from doing what we want to be doing. And I'm not saying that you be a robot and you follow this exact schedule. Like, you still allow some kind of adaptability, and you also kind of, like, I've learned a lot just from testing all these different things and seeing when I fail or when I don't fail, and why did I stick to it then and why didn't I stick to it at this other time. And I think the main thing is adaptability, like just keeping it into what you feel like you can do at that moment, because you don't know how you are going to feel later. And likely you've got to expect a lot of adversity, like, I don't want to do that. That seems like way too much work. I was really feeling like I wanted to do that when I planned it, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, stuff that, I can't do that. And I would just cut off the day from there. I'd be like, no, I can't do it. Like in the morning, I would just say, no, I can't do it. This is enough. I'm just gonna fucking go on a binge, basically. And I would feel really bad for it because I wasn't making any progress on my goals, and I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating what I wanted to. I wasn't doing what I wanted to. And basically I was just allowing myself to indulge without earning it. And I think that's an important part for me, is to do the work, but then allow some kind of flexibility inside it. And, you know, if you've had a hard day, then toning it down a little bit the next day and just seeing what you can do in that moment. But anyway, the main point that I want to make about with the meditation, and then I'll leave you to it because I don't want to make this too long, because I think that's a deterrence to people watching my videos. And I want to finish this workout with focus on it without worrying about the video, and just, I don't think it's very cool just having plain videos of me just kind of doing a lot of my exercises and movements. Like, it's kind of boring, to be honest. You want to hear the talking, you want to see that I'm doing stuff, but you don't want to spend the whole time watching me doing stuff. Well, that's what I want my videos to be, or that's what I would want to watch me doing. That's what I would want to watch in another YouTube channel. Anyway, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but the last point that I'm trying to make is that we are too attached to our bodies and minds, and meditation starts to create like a separation between that. So rather than feeling something in it being your whole experience, you start to get a bit of separation from it. You still feel it, you still have the intensity of it, but it doesn't consume you, and you can control yourself a little bit better. You can see how you're feeling and see what you're actually capable of doing, rather than just pushing yourself to do too much, or just giving into that feeling and then feeling bad for it because you went on a binge or something like that. And the last point that I want to make about habits is that we've built up so many habits over all these years, and you can go back to like childhood and see like where these things came from. Like, my ties to video games comes to when I was like a little kid, and I didn't get a lot of time to play video games, so I was looking forward to my freedom being an adult and being able to play video games as much as I wanted to. And yeah, I've done that, and it doesn't really feel satisfying, but at times I do go through bouts where I don't even want to play them, and I just allow that to happen. But then there's times like now where I want to play them a bit more, you know? Like, I've been getting more into Hearthstone because that's probably one of my favorite games. I just love the strategy, and just playing a couple games of that is kind of just enjoyable for me. And then also starting to play some FIFA because I'm going to play soccer this season, and I want to work on a bit of my tactics and just deal with the stress of losing in a FIFA game and getting really triggered at FIFA, but just playing it anyway. So our habits come from way when we were younger, and they're very hard to get rid of. It takes a lot of conscious and awareness, and you've got to build up that conscious awareness, because habits are basically unconscious. They're just automatic habits. They're kind of easy to do. And it takes a lot longer than we think it does to change. Like, you can't just get rid of a bad habit just like that. And it's not even to say that these habits are bad. Like, maybe you've just allowed it to control your life too much, or maybe it was just a comfort for you, or, you know, maybe you just enjoy doing that and it gives some sort of satisfaction to your life. But for me, I need to be doing something physical. I need to be training. I need to be doing some sort of work, so then I feel like I earn that rest. And sometimes I don't even want to play the video games, and you know, I'm like, oh, but that's what gets me through the workout. Or sometimes like I'm like, oh, I don't want to go through this workout, but then afterwards, you know, I can eat, and then maybe I can play some games of FIFA, or after that I can play a few games of Hearthstone or whatever, and then just watch some David Attenborough and chill out before I go to bed. And sometimes that's what gets me through. And even if I don't want to play them, sometimes I end up doing it anyway, because sometimes it's important to resist good intentions. Like, this sounds really kind of backwards, but like, if you don't want to play video games, and you usually do, sometimes if you resist that and do it anyway, then you can engage with it more consciously in a different mind state, and then learn a bit more about yourself because you're doing it in a different way. And also it's practice, because it's harder to resist something that you don't want to do. So like, say you don't want to clean up your diet, but you feel like you want to anyway, like that's a goal that you want to set for yourself. It's going to be very hard to do that. Whereas if you say, like, have something more pleasurable, like, oh, I don't want to play video games, but then you do it anyway. It seems kind of backwards, but it's kind of training that same kind of impulse to act despite how you feel when you don't want to do something, still doing it. I hope I got that kind of message across okay. And I think I've said quite enough for this video. So yeah, thank you for watching if you did. and I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully it didn't go too long. 15 minutes is good.